Welcome to the lesson on 9.2, multiplying and dividing rational expressions. In this particular lesson, we'll be focusing just on multiplying rational expressions. So before we start, let's start with a simple fraction. When you have a fraction like that, we could multiply across and simplify, but let's reverse the order. And when you write it out, we notice that the 7 and the 14 contains common factor, and 8 and 12 contains common factors, right? And because we've done this a long time, we could say that 7 goes into 7 once, 7 goes into 14 twice, and then 4 goes into 8 twice, 4 goes into 8 3 times. Once you have simplified like that, you could simply multiply across and we're done. So when you have a rational expression as this, x plus 1 divided by x minus 1 times 3 divided by twice the x plus 1, you look at it just like the problem that we have up here with just simple numbered fractions. You look at the numerator and denominator and check out which factors are common, and we could cross cancel those, right? So when you look at that, x plus 1s cancel out, and we simply write down 3 over 2 times x minus 1. So what we're basically arguing is that this expression right here that we just attained, and then this one over here, the original question, are equivalent statement, except that this one contains x plus 1, therefore you cannot have what? X as a negative 1, right? If you did, it would be created 0 in the denominator, so the whole expression will be undefined. Well, if you look over here, you can't tell just by looking at it. So you have to indicate the fact that it can't be negative 1. While you're at it, you could just even mention what it can't be, as you could see, which is x cannot be 1 either. So this right here is called the excluded value, right? So once you state that, this expression and this expression, the question and what the expression that we obtained is in fact the same. All right. So that's a prelude to the actual question. So let's try a slightly more realistic question that we'll be doing in class. Look at that. Okay. So in order to get where we were, what do you think we should do? If you said we need to set each numerator and denominator, if it's possible to factor, we should factor them, then you're correct. So when you go through that, okay, top one over here, you notice that the coefficients were 2, 6, and 20. And the first thing we should always try to do is factor out the GCF, and we did that, right? Now, once you do that, I factor the left denominator, which is same thing as x minus 2 times x plus 2. And then on the top numerator on the right, I just factor out the GCF. We continue on. But instead of factoring, I noticed that the x squared minus 3x minus 10 is on both top and bottom, right? Right. So we cross cancel. And then when we multiply 2 and 3, it gives you 6x squared. Now we need to indicate the excluded values, right? And those are, just look at the common denominator, guys, okay? This over here is negative 2 and a 4. And then if you look at the denominator, which is right here, x squared minus 3x minus 10, that right there, if it's factored, is x minus 5, x plus 2. If you set that to equal to 0, that's negative 2 and 5, which I included right here, guys. So it's probably a good idea, whether whole thing cancels or not, it's a good idea to factor the denominator so we could find any excluded values, okay? So this is the question we're going to go in class, but for now, this portion of the lesson is over. I'll see you later, okay? Bye-bye.